All right, so rather than jump in and chat about AI and the latest tech trends, I'm going to go to the complete other side of the spectrum. And I'm going to talk about things like human emotions and mindsets, probably all the things you do not associate with insurance. So one of the things I find fascinating about this industry, as you heard from Dan earlier, is the journeys we all take to get here. They're all different, they're all unique. I love learning about all of them. My journey starts at art school. Probably not one you hear about all that much, and since I own my own design firm, I often get invited to speak with art school students. And they all go down the same exact way. I'll go up there, I'll chat about, yep, I've been doing this for 20 years, love using design as a change agent, blah, blah, blah. And they all start to kind of lean forward and look in and show some interest. Then I drop the bombshell on them, and I go, oh, and I specialize in insurance. And I get the same reaction every single time. It's the same thing every time. And I know this look well because I made the same look about 12 years ago when I first, when insurance first came knocking for me. So back then, we were designing big e-commerce sites for all brands you've heard of, Saks Fifth Avenue and Bose and New Balance, and then I got a phone call from an insurance company, and they were asking us to redesign a portal. So similar reaction, and the truth is, and I think you all know this, right? The outside world often views insurance as dry, as perplexing, even occasionally might even use the word sus, as maybe those art school students might say. Some of you have the same age children I do, that you even know that term. Well, that first project really peeled back the layers, and it allowed us to look at the industry through an entirely new lens. One as if being more of an insider. And we discovered there is so much more to this industry that you don't see from the surface once you go beyond that. And it is such a complex and nuanced business, a beautiful business, one that is anchored, as you all know, by this close-knit community that has such deep expertise and a rich history. And I'll be honest, it felt like I was entering a new country. Has that feeling where it's a different language, it's a different set of cultural norms. Well, since then, this is my fourth ReSource Pro session, so been doing this for a while. Since then, we've worked with over 30 some odd retailers and distributors, and we've been able to really immerse ourselves in the culture, really getting to know and watching how decisions get made, how problems are solved. We've also been on the front lines as user researchers, seeing what the customer, what the employee, what the agent, what all of them are thinking about, seeing, feeling, and experiencing. And this dual role has kind of allowed us to have this insider-outsider perspective. And from this kind of angle, we were able, a few questions emerge. And one being, why, despite the industry's commitment to customer centricity, why is this gap? Why is the gap growing between the customer expectations and the industry's ability to meet them, right? And similarly, why, with all the huge investment in digital transformation, why isn't that translating into more tangible, positive experiences for people on the front lines, both customers and employees? And to us, there's no question that there's a lot of intent, and it's not a lack of effort. It is, to us, there's something deeper, right? There's a fundamental mind shift that's needed. And as an industry, we are hardwired to do things a certain way. And like the cliche goes, it's true as can be, right? Culture will eat strategy, execution, vision, they'll eat it all for breakfast. So to truly connect to new customer and employee mindsets, we need to embrace a new mindset of our own and really embrace people-first ways of thinking, of problem solving, of prioritizing, and it starts from within. Starts in the heart of the industry, starts right here in operations. So let's jump through what a couple of these kind of look like in practice. Our first shift is moving away from the instinct to jump right into solutions, right? And instead start with a problem. We, again, as human beings, every single one of us, we're hardwired to just solve problems as they come up. That's just how we're made. And with insurance, this gets amplified significantly because these ideas, these solutions, quickly turn into projects that require a significant amount of time, resources, and investment in order to execute. Also, insurance is often I would say, tempted to start with technology. And the truth is, all the best technology in the world you'll be hearing about the next couple of days, AI, big data, embedded, all of it, they're all rendered useless if they don't fulfill a human need. So quick example, and this is from recently from a PNC executive, and she had shared that they were venturing into commercial fleet telematics, right, to drive down loss costs. They found a tech solution that they loved. They spent 2 years implementing it, doing all the internal processes, doing all the marketing materials. They put it into market, nothing happened. Why? Agents were they weren't familiar, they weren't comfortable selling the technology, and they didn't have time to learn it. The fleet managers just weren't enthusiastic about it. The drivers, they saw it as a hassle. They didn't want to download a work-related app on their personal phones. Made complete sense that the business would want to achieve, the metrics, whether improving risk assessment and dropping down the loss cost. And the solution seemed so obvious at the time. But ultimately, this was what, again, another cliche, a solution looking for a problem. Adopting a human-centered mindset, it means holding off before jumping into the solution and really figuring out what's the problem we're trying to solve here. We want to dismantle our assumptions, and really, by asking why before what. We want to shift the thinking from thinking the solution is obvious to reframing the problem in human terms. And by doing that, you come up with an array of different of options. In the telematics case, asking questions like, how might we get agents on board or motivate fleet managers or whatever that might be. See, the whole thing is when you're on the inside, like you all are, and you're an expert in your business, the problems and solutions really do seem so obvious to you, but the truth is it's not what people are experiencing on the outside. Which leads me to my next mindset shift of what we, the collective we, need as a business, to shifting to more understanding what they need as users. So the industry has actually has made great strides when it comes to advocating for customer and employee needs, but to me, there's a big difference, a big gap between the doing and the saying. And in operations, everyone here knows that the job is for internal efficiencies, automating processes, and decreasing steps. But rarely do I see they question if the changes that are being made truly impact the customer's experience. Because while these efforts, all of our efforts, came to cut costs and boost efficiencies, they can inadvertently add burden to customers. Good example is another Fortune 500 insurer. They spent a year building a beautiful, super easy to use portal for their dental providers. The goal was to decrease incoming calls. They were getting thousands of them. They wanted to decrease them, and they were getting them to verify and clarify the benefits. They rolled it out, and nothing happened. No one used it, right? Providers said that the last thing they wanted to do was log on to different portals for all the different carriers. It was just easy for them to call. They didn't trust the information as much online as if they spoke to a human. And ultimately, there was no reduction in calls. And the cost of the portal far outweighed the efficiencies gained. The truth is, there is a lot of risk involved when it comes to rolling out workflows or tools to human beings. Talking to actual employees and customers allows you to remove the guesswork and increase the odds of succeeding. It's essentially a way to de-risk your efforts. It's a simple concept. When you know little about the customers you serve, you know little about how to succeed. Here's a good example. There's no one in here. Oh, anyone who's going to go on vacation, right, in our personal lives, would you do that without doing research? You're about to spend $2,000 on a vacation. No one here would do that. So I just don't, why skip it in business, right? Why, it's not a huge lift. All it is about asking the right questions and then taking the answers and doing something with it and acting on it. If you could research a vacation, and every single human being in here can, you can apply it to the workplace. You have the skill set to do it. Next one, from digitizing the experience to humanizing. I'd imagine many of you have digitization projects on your roadmap or currently in motion, but are you truly improving the customer experience, or are you just kind of shifting mediums and materials? Because solely digitizing and not factoring in not considering the human factor, that you're not using digital to elevate the human experience. And there's this perception out there that a lot of people say, and I guaranteed I'd hear it in this room, let's digitize now, we'll humanize later. We'll do all this, let's just get the damn thing out there and we'll do this all later. Those two things are not mutually exclusive, nor are they sequential. This one gets me. This one gets me right here, because you're already under the hood. You're already doing the work. You're already doing the digitization. Just do it all at once. You got to consider it. Think about online forums, right? We've all seen these. More often we see companies taking the existing form and just converting it online, right? Here's an example, one we're all familiar with. You've seen it all the time. And in this case, fill out 30 questions. Agent has to fill it out to get a quote. Super efficient when it comes to data, not very efficient for the agent having to fill it out. And the issue is most companies stop here. They check off the box for digitization, then they move on to the next thing, and they say, good, we're done. Yeah, we did the digitize. The truth is, the deeper you get in the business, the further you are from the end user. And it becomes extremely hard to empathize when you're that far. So, especially when all the focus is on tactics and metrics like turnaround time and quality rates and SLAs. So shifting to a human mindset still factors in those metrics, but it also finds ways to elevate the experience by understanding the problem. In this case, we spoke to actual agents, and they all said the same thing. They're like, we know all the questions. It was a burden for them to fill it out. So again, simple tweak of, all right, let's just make a UI update where they could just hit no, skip it all, and go to the next. Let's just find a way to make their lives easier. And I only bring this up as a way to saying you can do both things. You can achieve the metrics. In this case, it got knocked down from 10 minutes to 2 minutes through a few UI updates. You can hit the metrics while also elevating the experience and making their jobs easier. Next time you're working with your team on something, I would invite you to ask them this question when their head's down and they're very business focused. Just ask them, what would this be like? What would this feel like if it was easy? Ask that question and just see what happens, and people get to kind of transfer and think differently. Those are the kind of the games you have to play because we're so deep inside of it. Which leads me to the last one of an insider expert perspective to embracing the outsider. So an example, I think, is how we base a lot of our strategies on what leaders and companies are doing inside our industry, right? This inward thinking does not move us forward. It's only going to breed more of the same. And I think we have to take the same rigor that we do put towards competitive intelligence and put some of it towards customer intelligence, understanding the behaviors, right? Because business insights are great at telling you where you are, but it's the customer insights that'll tell you where you need to go. Let's stop with the myth that our industry is so uniquely unique with its own unique problems. We have to stop that, right? There is so much to learn from the air travel, from retail, from banking, from real estate. I've been there. There is so much to learn, but we're all so insular, and we keep it inside. So at the end of the day, all the industries are trying to reach the same human being. And let's make a concerted effort to pull in outsiders and from other industries and backgrounds, and not as a replacement to this internal expertise, but as a way to complement it, right? Update the job descriptions. See these all the time. Update those job descriptions because they're so focused on pure insurance function, and you know, let's augment it with hiring for behaviors like willingness to question, openness, all that stuff. If we are going to make a dent in this scary, scary stat, we need to integrate outsider thinking. I was, 12 years ago, I was an outsider coming on the inside, and it is not easy. It is not easy to be an outsider coming in here, and the truth is, the next generation of talent will not stay if they're not around like-minded thinkers. And I'll tell you, I'll give you an outsider's secret. They don't care what we care about in here. Customers, they don't care about the forums, they don't care about the telematics, they just want to feel valued, and they don't want to feel like a number. The agents, they don't give a shit about how many features you put in the software we give them. They don't care. All they care about is we making their jobs easier. And the future hires that we're talking about, they don't care about tradition, they don't care about the rich history. They're more interested, they're seeking workplaces that are looking forward and not backward. This is an amazing industry. I get the chills when I get to this part. Like and beneath it all, you know, beneath all this complexity and all the craziness that we're going to be talking about the next couple of days, is such a beautiful and simple purpose of looking out for and protecting people. And when you're caught up in the day-to-day, deep inside the belly of this business, like you all are, it's easy to lose touch of the impact you're having out there. You know, I'm on the front lines. I see it. And there are amazing things happen. So by placing people at the center and embracing new mindsets, you not only achieve the commercial metrics that we all aspire to achieve, but I think more importantly, you make a deeper connection with this promise that we've made. And to me, and what everyone in here deserves, is it gives more meaning to the work, the essential work you all do each and every day. Thank you.